Hello everyone! This hour on Verbling, the next in my speaking skills series. Today we're going to be talking all about how to give advice. And we're going to be using modal verbs and key expressions to give advice about one particular situation, specifically using social media. More about that in just a minute. First, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means when you're not speaking, turn off your microphone so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. When you are speaking, tune in to the new words that you're learning. Use them as actively as you can so that I can correct you and give you feedback. And also, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about me. Let's find out a little bit about you. So, I think right now we've got all new faces. Yep, I don't know any of you. So let's say hello to Barley. You were the first I saw come in. Hello, Barley. How are you?
Hello. Thank you very much. I'm fine. How about you?
I'm hanging in there, Barley. And where are you from?
I'm from Turkey.
From Turkey. Okay, very good. And you've got a very nice horse, Barley. Very nice horse.
Thank you.
Is that your horse?
No, just I like the horse and say things I like it.
But you could tell everyone that it's your horse. You could say, yes, that's my horse. And that's my house right on the beach. And we would all believe it. I think you should tell people that. It's my
I hope I will have.
Next year. Next year. Give it time.
Okay.
Let's say hello to Ibeck as well. Hello, Ibeck. How are you? Hello, Ibeck. Hello. And where are you from, Ibeck?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
From Kazakhstan?
Yes, right.
I think I've seen you before a while ago. You've been in my class, no?
No, it's my first day.
It's your first time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Check it.
Okay. Well, great to have you then. I thought I recognized your name. I wasn't sure. And let's say a quick hello to some other faces down there. Who do I not know? Ksenia, is that right? Ksenia?
Yes, you're right. Hello.
Hello, Ksenia. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You?
I'm all right. And where are you from, Ksenia?
Can you guess?
No?
Russia.
How would I know? Your name is not written in Cyrillic. I don't know.
Maybe by my accent.
Is by your accent? No, I have no idea. You could be from anywhere. Is Ksenia a common name in Russia? I've never heard it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I've never heard that name before, so I wasn't even sure how to say it. And whereabouts in Russia? In Moscow? In Siberia? Where are you?
It's a city near by Moscow.
A city near.
It's central part of Russia. Yeah.
Central part. Okay, very good. And is that a picture of your city? That looks like Venice.
No, it's France, Paris.
Oh, it's Paris. Oh, yeah. Now I see. It's La Seine. Got it.
It's near Notre Dame.
Got it. It's Notre Dame. Is it really?
Near. It's a bridge, one of the bridge near this quarter where built Notre Dame.
Ah, there you go. Excellent. All right. And we've got also Mr. Saud. Hello, Mr. Saud. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And where are you from, Saud?
Saudi Arabia.
From Saudi Arabia. Okay. Okay, well, let's get started. Our regulars are not here for some reason, but they might be joining us. So hopefully they'll be coming in. I'm going to share my screen with you. Take a look. How to give advice. In this case, we're going to work on one area that's very easy to give advice about. Social networking. But you can apply this to any situation you like. By the way, don't forget that all of the all the material, that's what I want to say, is always below the video window. It says open this. I'm going to put it in the chat window as well. If you don't have it open, you can open it there. I'll share my screen with you as much as I can. And by the way, if you don't see it, I'll put it there in the group chat as well. Okay? So, let's get started. Here's my question for you. In this lesson, you will learn to use specifically modal verbs to give advice. By the way, what do I mean by modal verbs before we even start? What is a modal verb? That's when you'll see that in grammar books, but what do I mean by modal verbs? Do you know? Can you think of an example?
Should.
Should is a modal verb. What else? Everyone tell me one. Ksenia said should. Give me one, Ibek.
Can.
Ought to.
Good. Should, can, ought to. That's the one that everyone forgets.
Must.
Must. These are all modal verbs. If you're going to give advice, which modal verbs are used for giving advice?
Should, ought to,
Should, ought to.
would.
Well, could be.
Could be. Could be.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
Have to. No?
Could be. Should and ought to are very clear. The others could be. It depends on how you say them. So, but anyway, that's what we mean by modal verbs. That's the important thing. So let's see. First, this question is kind of a stupid question. How often do you go to social networking sites? What I should say is, how many times an hour do you check your Facebook feed? So, how about you, Barley? Do you use social networking a lot?
Not a lot. Just
Not a lot, really.
because I don't like to communicate with the social media. Just I use Facebook. I used Facebook last time for find some my friends from university and high school. And it was funny, but now I don't use it. So I use LinkedIn for find a specialist on some subject. Because of my job, I need some special experts.
Okay, very good. By the way, find my friends. Another way to say that, when you have not spoken with someone you knew for a long time, we have a special expression. Not just find my friends, but we say get. Do you know the expression? To get.
To get.
To get in. What's the missing word? After many years, I got in.
Facebook.
Not got in Facebook. It's an expression.
Okay.
Does anyone know? When you reconnect to someone after a long time, you get.
Together.
That's it. That's it. That's it. You can see it in the chat window, in the group chat, to get in touch. So I used Facebook to get in touch with classmates, and you used LinkedIn for professional reasons. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. For professional reasons or purposes. In the chat window too, these are all good examples. Let's find some others since we're on the subject. So we've got, I'm spelling LinkedIn wrong, 1 second. There we go, got it. And what about you, Ksenia? Do you agree that maybe the age of Facebook has passed? Are we done with Facebook?
Yes. Nowadays, the time of Instagram, I think.
It's the time of Instagram. I've never used it. Why is it better? How do you use it as a social networking platform? What do you do with it?
It's social networks just for photos and small comments below it. So we just share some photos. I think it's the main reason to use social networks to show others photos. And Instagram, it's the main idea of all social networks, maybe.
What do we call it when we write text under a photo? Do you know that word? You're writing text to explain a photograph. We have a special word for that.
No, I don't know.
Same when you look at a newspaper. The words under the text are called a caption. A caption.
Mm-hmm.
So Instagram for sharing photos, and with, should say captions, not captions. Sorry about that. You can add little captions to the photo. Interesting. And what about you, Ibek? Are you an Instagram user?
No, I don't often use Instagram. I use social network as Vkontakte. Do you know? It's Russian. It's like a few, like Facebook.
What's the name?
Vkontakte. Vkontakte.
Contact. Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So it's like Facebook.
Yes, it's like Facebook, and sometimes I visit that social network to listen music, to communicate with my old friends.
And is it as popular as Facebook? Why do people use more of that in
No, it's like Facebook, but it's most popular in Kazan, in Soviet Union.
former Soviet countries, you mean?
Yes, former Soviet Union. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that one as well, Ksenia?
Yes, of course.
Ah, okay. I don't know. I'm just curious, Shinwei. What's more popular in your neck of the woods, in your area? So, are people? I don't know. So, don't you have, like, for example, in China, you have your own version of Skype? Do you have your own version of Facebook? You do, don't you? Shinwei. Shinwei, are you there?
Hi, teacher. I can't hear you. I'm thinking.
Oh, you're thinking. But what do people use in China? I know it's like Weibo is one of them, isn't it?
In Western people, everyone knows that Chinese government is blocking YouTube, Google, and Facebook.
Oh, they
But,
blocked Facebook too. I didn't know that.
The Chinese government often blocks YouTube, Facebook, Google, and the other social websites.
Social
But in China,
networks. Social networks.
the other social network. But in China, we have the similar social media. I know some of these. They are called Weibo,
Weibo.
QQ, Weibo, QQ, and so on.
And
But
Weibo is like what? It's like Facebook or it's like Twitter?
Weibo, it's like Weibo, it's like it's difficult for me to answer this question. I can't find the substitute for Weibo.
I didn't understand. Say the last part again. Repeat. The last word you said was?
It's very difficult for me to find the similar product like
okay.
Weibo.
Oh, I see. So maybe it's not similar. Maybe it's different. I've never used it. I just know about it. I know you can create a profile and you can contact people. And what about? Go ahead. Yes.
Those social media are strictly controlled by out by my government.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that brings up the next point.
I'm sorry.
No,
I talk too much.
No problem. That brings up the next point. I asked.
It's your turn.
Yeah, one moment. I asked how often do you go to these sites for exactly that reason. At the time I created this lesson, this was before the age of Edward Snowden. and now we live in the post-NSA Edward Snowden era. So what I wanted to know was, if you've got to give advice, what advice would you give? That's what we're getting at here. So, words of caution. What words of caution would you give a friend who creates, for example, an online profile? But we don't have to limit ourselves to just online profiles. We're going to talk about many different things. At the time I wrote this, the issue was kind of personal safety. But now, as you mentioned, Shinue, now we have another issue. We have the issue of, first, privacy, and the issue of spying. You all know about WikiLeaks, right? So it makes you think, doesn't it? I'm just curious, now that I'm doing this lesson again a couple of years later, what kind of words of caution you might tell people. Let me just say a quick hello to Sergio, also, who came in a little late, and Bruno as well. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, John. Hello. Hello, everyone.
And Sergio, let's start with you. In general, what words of caution would you give to someone who's creating a profile? They're signing up to a social network. So what social networking do you use the most, Sergio?
Recently I've been using more LinkedIn, and I think Facebook, yeah.
LinkedIn and Facebook. So let's talk about LinkedIn for a minute, and then maybe we'll get back to the government issue. But let's talk about LinkedIn. Class, how many people use LinkedIn besides Sergio? So I know it was I think it was Ibeck, you said? Oh, I forgot who it was now. It was Barley or Ibeck said they use LinkedIn. Do all of you use it? Does anyone else use it? So just Sergio?
Teacher, I have a question.
Go for it.
Can you type the word LinkedIn?
Take a look.
Oh, it's a kind of social work.
Yeah, so Sergio and whoever else uses it, how would you describe LinkedIn to someone who's never used it before? It's kind of an old social network, actually. How would you describe it?
As a professional networking, and yes,
LinkedIn.
And you can use. I use this one for keep my contact, networking, and follow some blogs, and yeah, for professional contacts.
When you say keep my contact, do you mean to communicate with people, or do you mean to save people's email addresses? What do you mean by keep my contact?
To contact.
To stay in. A good key expression. To stay in. You know the expression?
Stay in touch.
Exactly. That's it. To stay in touch with people, like that in the chat window. Okay? And Bruno, do you ever use LinkedIn? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely. I use LinkedIn for my professional contacts. And it's a group of graphic designer in the advertising in France.
So can you make groups on LinkedIn?
This is a group of design graphic in
graphic designers.
Yes, absolutely. and there is a lot of people. There is more 100 people on this group, and each person say what is seen on the internet, on the web. And the last information was about the GIF animation, or packaging. It's a packaging for consumption, people consumption.
For consumers, you mean consumers?
I don't know the real word.
But consummation is not really a word.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, you can say it, but it doesn't really mean that.
Conception?
Conception, to create ideas? Is that what you mean? Creating ideas? Or what are the GIFs for? You mean to help be more creative? We look at different GIFs and discuss them?
I don't know. I don't understand the word GIFs.
The one you said. You said GIFs or GIFs.
Ah, okay. GIF. The word just is GIF. It's a little animation with pictures.
Yes. So you said the graphic designers in your group use GIFs.
Oh.
Is that right?
No, it's different. It was just an example.
Ah, okay. Well, look. Let me ask you all not an example. Let me ask you about words of caution, because we're focus on giving advice, particularly in the area of social networking. So let's go to someone else who hasn't spoken too much. Let's go to Barley. Mr. Barley, are you there? Mr. Barley? Sorry, Dr. Barley. Barley, you're not there. I don't hear you.
Where's Buddy?
I don't know. Maybe he's riding his horse somewhere. Ksenia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
There you go. So let's start with you. If someone was making a profile for the first time on a social networking platform that you use, what would you say to them to be careful of?
Be careful with information about that person. I think maybe what city, or maybe not, it's okay with city, maybe on house he live, number of house. They shouldn't type on his profile. And I think a code safety of his account should be very strong.
Okay, good. So when you say shouldn't type, we probably say shouldn't put instead of type.
Shouldn't put, yes.
But more general word. So they shouldn't put personal information, and you mentioned like putting your address, house number, that kind of thing. Unless you want friends, new friends to show up at your house, then you can do it, right?
Yes.
Maybe it's not a good idea. And what do you think? So the one kind of advice is about your personal information. You shouldn't put. Now, let's see if we can try to use each of the key expressions above in some way. So we did should. You shouldn't put personal information. Ibek, what else could you say? You can use the same social platform or a different one, so you could be very specific. But I want you to give a different piece of advice with a different expression above in the little box. So what would you add to what Ksenia said?
I agree with idea of Ksenia, but I would say additional about photos. Maybe you have to you don't need to put any kind of photos which probably in future people could or people or some of organization could use против
Against you.
against you, yeah.
Okay, say that again, I beg. But I want you to use the word otherwise, the one you see in the box. Same idea, but I want you to use a contrasting word. In other words, otherwise, and then you give the result. You say what will happen if you do use the wrong photo. So just repeat what you said. You don't want to use photos.
Yes, you don't need to use photos which further in your life government or different organization could use against your life.
Okay. You say that again with the word otherwise. It's a good keyword.
Okay.
Try it again. Otherwise. You don't want to use personal photos or something like that?
Yes, photos. Otherwise, government or different organization could use against you life.
Okay. They could use it against you. Good. I'll put that in the chat window as well. Otherwise, the government or some organization could use it against you. There you go. And take a look in the group chat for that. So we got 2 good reasons so far. Sergio, let's talk about LinkedIn specifically. I've got a LinkedIn account. I just can't use it. I just can't bring myself to use it. I just hate it. So I never use it.
Why?
I hate it so much. I want to use it. I really do. But I don't know. First of all, they send so much spam email. I'm always getting emailed by them. That's my main problem with it. But I think it's a good idea because it's like an online CV. So I think it's a good idea.
Exactly.
Okay. But about creating your profile, going to LinkedIn for the first time, it's a professional social networking. So what advice would you give? You've got to put more personal information on it, right? That's the whole point. Someone should go to LinkedIn and they should give you a job based on your profile. So what advice would you give for people professionally?
Firstly, you should, as you mentioned before, you should use your LinkedIn profile as a professional social media. So you should consider use your LinkedIn as a CV, as a resume, and keep like your posts and comments groups that you're gonna follow like always in a professional way. Otherwise, people, maybe companies, can think that you are not real a good or maybe serious candidate.
Okay. And so, when you say follow in a professional way, right?
Yeah.
You follow certain groups in a professional way. Can you be more specific what you mean by a professional way? Because way is a little bit vague for us. What do you mean by in a professional way?
You shouldn't not post like comments or photos that is like related your personal life. I mean, if you go a trip, you are in a beach. This doesn't. They don't care. They look for like a style really professional. You should. It's a good way for me and for some, maybe for everyone, to show the market, to show the companies that you are maybe interested person, and they should look for you or maybe wanna talk to you, have a contact.
Okay, good. So just to clarify, in a professional way, in a professional way, what you're saying is you shouldn't post comments that may reflect badly. Good expression. Reflect badly on your professional reputation or on your professionalism. Professionalism. So that's a good expression to keep in mind. Reflect badly. Everyone, we're going to get to the government issue in just a moment. Shinue, I'd like to hear from you and from everyone. But first, take a look at the bottom of the slide. Which groups do the words belong to? Think about some of the things we've said. What I want you to do is say something in column A, what to do, and then extend it in column B, what you're avoiding. And a really good example of that was what Ibex said earlier about the photos. What to do? Avoid personal photos, what you're avoiding, otherwise they could be used against you. So I'd like you to see if you could use a contrast word. So we have otherwise, that's a good contrast word. Let me give you a few keywords you might want to think about. Well, actually, what I'd like to hear you say it, and then I'll make some suggestions. Okay? So, for example, Bruno, what could you add? What advice could you give in column A that you could then give a result or a contrast in column B? The example we have is avoid personal photos, otherwise they could be used against you. So in general, what could you say in column A? What to do?
About photos of me on my network?
About anything.
Okay.
About anything, general advice. I want you to focus on how to show a result.
Okay.
Otherwise is a great keyword to show results. If you don't is another good one. So let's start column A. What to do in column A?
I don't understand column A.
Column A is what is the advice you're giving. So
okay.
Here's an example.
Sorry.
In the chat window, avoid personal photos. In general, you might want to avoid personal photos. In column B, you connect it by saying otherwise they may be used against you in some way. So take a look at the group chat. Can you see those A and B that I just wrote?
On my personal account in networking about LinkedIn, I've just one pictures. It's just my files. Like on a Hangout, it's the same pictures. But when you go on the professional network, I have just one advice.
Which is?
It's very simple. What is your objective? What is your goal for your sale? If you are on a professional network, you need to have just one goal. What do you want to sell? You, your service, your competence, your excellence, and if necessary to speak, to write about your CV, because it's your professional experience. But always remember what is the goal.
What your goal is.
Yeah.
Always remember what your goal is, not what is your goal, but what your goal is.
What your goal is, absolutely, sorry.
Okay, good. So that's our column A. Column A on the left side. What to do? Know your goal. Know what you want to sell. Another word is highlight. Know what you want to highlight about yourself. In column B, you have to give a result. So let's say it like this. If you don't, what could happen? If you don't. So Bruno, extend the idea. If you don't know your goal, what might be the result?
The result is nobody follow you. You will be alone in the network.
I think. If you don't, nobody will follow you, and you're not going to make. It's not going to help you very much if you're trying to be a professional.
Yes,
Okay.
it's my mind. It's not general. I think that's but.
Okay, but it's a valid opinion. Shinwei, I'd like you to do this as well. Now, you can talk about LinkedIn or anything. Of course, you don't know LinkedIn. You could talk about social networking in general. What's our column A for you? What should people do? What's your advice?
People should create and people shouldn't create and write controversial issues about politics and religion.
Okay. So they shouldn't create controversial issues. You mean they shouldn't, what do you mean create? You mean in their profile? Is that what you mean? They shouldn't, oh, we lost him. Connection problems. Uh-oh, we'll have to come back.
He's flying.
Shouldn't have controversial, there, he's back. So, Shinwei, let's say, shouldn't have controversial things related to politics on their profile or on their site. That's our column A. Now, I want you to give a result. So here, instead of saying if you don't, we have to say if you do. Because you said shouldn't, yeah.
Can I continue to finish my talk? Just now, someone is attacking my internet.
Oh no. Don't let them. Go ahead, finish. Anyway, are you there? Hello, hello? Uh-oh, so we're going to have to come back to Shinwei. Alright, I think he's having some connection problems. Okay, we'll come back to you in just a minute. Let's focus a little bit on the actual advice you give. I'd like you to fill in one of these pieces of advice with any of the key words that we've seen before, modal verbs or expressions. Okay? Sergio, so what word could you fill in the first one?
You should be extremely careful.
You should be extremely careful. Okay?
Extremely.
Bruno, I want you to do the second, but without should.
You need to?
You need to? Read the whole thing. Read the whole thing. You need to what?
You need to hide your personal information from public view.
Okay, very good. So it works. You should be careful. You need to hide your personal information. Let's see if Shinwei is working. Shinwei, is your connection working now? Hello, Shinwei? Connection problems. Okay, we'll come back to him in a minute. Sergio, you can't use should and you can't use need to. So what could you say for the third one?
Screen the forums that you wrote.
What is screening? Do you know what that means?
Screen.
To screen.
To check out.
Almost. Almost.
Yeah, maybe you have to. You may screen the photo that you upload.
You may means you might do it or you might not. It means you're not sure. So may isn't going to work.
Hi, teacher. I'm back.
You must.
Be right with you, Shinwei. Right with you. One moment. Let's go ahead and finish Bruno. Sorry. Finish Sergio. Instead of
You
may,
must.
you must. But it says screening. So you must screening. We're missing something if you can use must. You can use must, but you're missing a word that allows you to use screening. How can you make it fit? You must What?
You must. Oh.
You need another verb. If you pick another verb, you'll be able to say screening. You must blank screening.
You must.
Give up? Bruno, what would you say? If you use must, we need a second verb besides must to say screening. We're missing something.
I don't know, sorry. You must to do.
No, you can't must to do screening because there's no to after must.
Okay.
You can never put a to. Take a look in the chat window, Sergio.
Oh, you must start.
You must start. There you could say it. You must start screening the photos that you upload. So if you use a word that's not an action, like hit is an action, talk is an action, non-action words can be followed by the ing form. Start screening, like doing. These non-action words would fit. The third one is a mistake. You blank might consider. That's a mistake. You're not supposed to see the word might. I made a mistake. I have to fix it. Shinyue, look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth, the one with limit. I want you to fill that in, but you can't use should, and you can't use need to, and you can't use must. Can you think of another way you could finish that sentence with limit, Shinyue? Shinyue?
I'm thinking.
Oh, you're thinking. Okay.
You.
Remember, it's advice. It could also be a suggestion. It doesn't have to be strong advice.
You had better.
Excellent. You had better. Read the whole sentence.
You had better limit your collection to people you know well.
Excellent. You had better is my opinion. Well, you'd better, and you could even say you had better really. You could even add an intensifying word. Well, you'd better really limit it. Means you really should. You had better really, you really should are the same thing. Okay, we got two more. One for Bruno, the one with set, and one for Sergio, the one with be wary. Bruno, what do you think about set? Without repeating any of the others, can you fill in another advice keyword?
Yeah, you made set.
You?
You made set or make?
Make?
Make.
It doesn't work. It's not an auxiliary verb. It's not a modal verb. It doesn't quite work. Set means to choose, to select your settings. Here, right? So you're giving advice. We need an advice keyword. Try again, Bruno. One more.
Sorry, I don't see the good word.
Okay, use a bad word.
Okay.
Think about the modal verbs. There's would, there's could, there's should, and what's that tricky one that we always forget?
Perhaps you should set.
Okay, yeah. We used it before, we can use it again. Or, you ought to set. You ought to set.
Okay.
You avoid to set your privacy level in the settings.
You avoid? Why would you avoid it? You shouldn't avoid. Don't you think? You shouldn't avoid setting. Well, anyway, we can't use avoid because avoid would be avoid setting. So it doesn't fit. But in any case, as advice, wouldn't you say you shouldn't avoid? Oh, you shouldn't avoid setting your privacy settings because you want to do it. You want to set your privacy to be careful. That's what I would say anyway. Sergio, what about the last one? Blank, be wary of scams. What does it mean to be wary? Wary.
Wary is to be concerned about.
Yeah, I agree. Concerned about. Wary is be concerned about. Be wary. Okay? In the chat window, you can see it. Can you add one more piece of advice without repeating anything else we said so far?
You must. You have. No, I have no. You.
It can be more than one word. It can be an expression too.
You should, of course, but you have used already.
Try it. I'll give you a hint. I want you to use may, but you're going to have to add another word to make it fit. You can't say you may be wary of scams, because that
you may
doesn't
have.
Almost. Almost. Not have. You're getting there, but it's not have. Anyone
You
else?
should.
You
You
should
ought to.
work. But I want you to
You
use. I want you to use specifically the word may. May and another word. You may blank be wary.
You may start again.
You may start be. Doesn't work. Start to be.
Yeah.
Start
Start
to
to
be
be.
would work. How about this? You may want to be wary. You may want to be wary of scams. It's just an alternative way of saying it. You may want to be wary of scams because they exist. So,
Yes, you
what
may
we tried
want
to
to.
do here is different forms of advice. We tried to not repeat the one from the previous, but they're all interchangeable. You may want to be extremely careful is okay for the first, just as you should be extremely careful. They all work. What I'd like you to do now is to actually try to convince someone about their safety by using keywords and key expressions of advice. So we're going to read through one example together, and then you are going to try it out for the rest of class. Okay? So let's try this out. The entire class. So here's a situation. Convince your friend to think again about his or her decision. Okay? So, Bruno, can you read for the class? And Shinue, can you read for you? Let's read through the situation once to get a model. Okay?
You really should not meet people them outdoors.
So imagine that there's a social networking opportunity and someone wants to meet up. That's the situation. You should really not meet someone outdoors. And Shinue, read for the class, or read for you. What's your rebuttal?
But we'll always meet indoors online.
That should say we've always met. It's a typo, sorry. It should say we've always met indoors, or we've always met online. Okay, and Bruno?
I can't repeat the phrase.
No, we're just reading through the example first.
If you go, then bring a friend.
Shinue?
But if I had friends, I wouldn't need to meet someone online.
Exactly. I don't have any friends. That's why I'm on. That's why I'm online. And Bruno?
Okay, I guess you've got nothing to lose then.
All right. Well, I know this situation doesn't apply to any of you. But what we're going to do is think of a situation that comes up. It could be one that we've talked about or one that we haven't talked about. And you are going to make a decision. We as a class are going to try to get you to think again by giving you some advice. So Bruno, what's a situation that comes up in social networking? One that could have a bad result. What do you think, Bruno?
the bad result will be don't have a contact and a business.
Say that again. So first of all, instead of will be, also would be or could be. The bad result would be. The bad result could be.
Yeah.
Would be what about the contact? Just say that again. So the bad result could be. What about the contact?
The bad result could be don't have contact but business.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
The network professional is important for develop business, and if you have a good contact for an expertise, the networking is good because the time.
Well, here we're looking at something dangerous, a decision, something that could happen when you're online, and you want to advise someone a little bit less experienced than you, right? So what's a possible danger that you want to avoid online? If you put personal photos that could be used against you, that's one of the things that we talked about, right? So let's imagine for a minute, let's take photos for an example. So let's imagine for a second. Let me see. I want you to think of an example like photos, or I want you to describe something that you're going to do, and we as a class are going to try to talk you out of it or get you to think again. So imagine you've just set up your first profile and you're asking us for our opinions. Okay? So Bruno, tell us one or two things you've put on our profile, and let's see if we can give you some advice.
Okay. The first advice is very simple. Take good pictures of you and give at people a specific I don't know the word, specifically in 10 words your expertise.
Okay, that's the advice, but we don't have a situation to role play. So let's change this a little bit. Bruno, I'm sorry, Bruno. Sergio, are you there?
Yes, I am.
What's the worst kind of photo you could possibly put on your LinkedIn profile? What's the worst thing you could put?
You running naked in the street.
Excellent. Bruno, tell us about the time. Tell us about how you're going to put a picture of you running naked through the street on your LinkedIn profile. And let's see if we can give you a little bit of advice, Bruno and Shinue. Okay? So we've heard that you're going to set up a LinkedIn profile, Sergio. Tell us about it.
Sergio or Bruno?
I keep saying Bruno, I don't know why. Sergio. We've heard you're going to set up a LinkedIn profile. Tell us about one or two things you're going to put on your profile.
You shouldn't, right?
No. Tell us what you're going to put on you. Imagine. We're going to do a little role play.
Okay. Okay. Last vacation I ran naked on the street, and I think this is a good photo for hire up my contacts and LinkedIn.
Bruno, Shinue, what would you advise him to do? We have to get him to think again about his decision. Bruno, one piece of advice.
Yeah, I would like to run in the street and pictures of me on my profile is not a problem.
Is that your advice for Sergio?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Oh, I want to upload it right now.
Shinue, what advice would you give him?
And can you repeat the situation?
He's going to upload naked pictures of himself on his LinkedIn profile. Do you think that's a good idea?
Oh, that's a good idea. I can use your photos to. I can use your photos to advertise my product.
His naked photos, really?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think we're missing the point of the activity here. We want to get him to not put the photos up, right, guys? Or maybe you've got a business opportunity. We don't know. Maybe we need to see the photos, Sergio. Then we'll be able to tell. I don't know.
For sell shoes.
Shinwei, I want you to tell us about a very bad decision that you're going to make later today regarding social networking. Think of the worst thing you could possibly do. Tell us about this bad decision. Only you don't know it's a bad decision. We know it's a bad decision. You give us a situation, and we'll try to talk you out of it. So what's your situation, Shinwei? We've only got a minute left, but let's try one more.
I am very handsome and masculine. I am very handsome and masculine, and I put my pictures on my profile, but a company use them in the advertisement to promote their sex products.
Of course. Bruno, what advice would you give to Shinwei to help him in the future?
Don't change. You are the good one.
Think about some of those. Think about some.
Friends, give me some advice.
Yes.
Think about some of those key words we learned earlier. Had better, ought to, must, would, could, and should as well. You should really think about. Sergio, what should he really think about in the future?
Okay. Anyway, you should be extremely careful about your pictures. Trying to use a picture maybe that's show you in a social way.
Good advice.
Otherwise, use personal picture. I mean, really personal.
Avoid
to use
exactly.
Really personal pictures from the public view.
All right, we're going to have to stop there. But now, after this lesson, you should be more comfortable with using modal verbs, would, could, should, replacing them with more advanced ones, had better, ought to, must, may really, may want to, could start, adding a bit of emphasis. Well, you should really think about avoiding personal photos. And a few contrast words like otherwise, if you don't, that kind of thing. Okay? So that gives you a little bit of practice and maybe even some new expressions. Okay? Very good job. I'll be back in just a minute to start the business class. I've got to stop right now. Sorry. But come back to the business class.
The last question.
Sorry, I got to go right now to start it. Sorry.